I'm just nodding my head along with you there because I definitely agree here. We do have a lobby set up. Everybody is now into the chat. We're going to be getting on to our quarterfinals. Winner of this will be advancing to the semis, which we will also cast. Oh, well, maybe not. Depends on
yeah.
Depends on whether both semis happen concurrently or not.
Yeah, it does kind of depend, as it is up to the players. You know, they aren't required to.
But here we are now, going to be spawning in on Eternal Empire, L-E-E-L-E, Ile, which, as we all know, does in fact stand for Everyone Even Limits Egg. Here in the top right-hand corner of the map, spawning in the top right-hand corner of the map, we have our Red Terran, all the way from the land down under, coming up from retirement. And I gotta tell you, like, I'm imagining him with, you know, an eye patch, with a very heavy beard. He's using a walking cane, walking out here. He's thinking, I'm too old for this, but he does what he has to do, as he is now gonna be spawning in the top right-hand corner of the map, in the top right-hand corner of the map, representing Clan Bear Me, although currently teamless, we have HuT.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner as a group please has been redeemed by Jets. So we'll get onto that shortly. We'll try and figure out what we get Kuro in. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Eternal Empire LE, we have the Filipino Zerg player representing himself and his country, as he is currently teamless. It is Nuks.
Not to be confused with Dax.
It's accurate. Dax being the Filipino caster, you know, he does cast quite a number of events for the Philippines. And something interesting about... Go on.
No, I was just gonna say, you should, even if you're not interested in, you know, Filipino StarCraft or just in general and whatnot, check out his channel anyway, because he has he's somebody who I think you can learn from if you want to get into casting.
He is someone who does not breathe.
Interesting style there. Well,
we came to the we had a theory, Kuro and I, where he just inhales like during the breaks in between.
And the breaks are 5 minutes long, so he's just going non-stop.
Yeah, for those 5 minutes, he just spends the entire time inhaling, and then that lasts him until the next break. It's insane to see, but it's great as well. Like, he is also trying to support not just the Philippines but also the Southeast Asian scene. He does cast Ao Dai whenever he can as well. It's cool.
It very much so is. We do see, well, none of that's going on in the game right now.
Yeah, we do have HuT trying to deny the... Oh, that's another
getting
denial
it quite
there.
a bit. Could get the drone, but not quite fast enough. Nuks will get that third base, but significantly later than he would have liked.
Yeah. And,
it seems like HuT is going for mech this time.
Oh.
All right, for the first time that we're going to be... no, actually, no, he just wants to kill the Overlord.
Yeah. We have seen some Terran players do this from time to time. Just lift up the racks as, you know, all the other add-ons and stuff are being made.
Just to be fair, what else are you going to be using that barracks for in the meanwhile, right?
Making a tech
You're not going to be getting... Well, you're not going to be getting... Well, no, the tech level's already made.
True.
That's why
True.
that's why you can float the thing over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you could build a reactor there if you wanted to, you know, add on switch later on with the starport.
Yeah, it's like options. Like
yeah,
this is like something that you can do as a Terran player. You have the option to lift up your racks and take out that Overlord, which is nice as well because it does deny scouting. It can be annoying as a Zerg player losing that Overlord. And yeah, especially since there are no other Overlords in position to go into the main base for a scout. So nicely done there by HuT.
Yep, and generally this indicates that he's going to be building up as, again, as we said, he's not going to be using his racks for a while. Will now be getting stim. So there's going to be a transition out into bio. And we'll see, what he can get done with his Banshee Hellions this time. We did see it work out pretty dang well versus Mio-Micah. Now, a bit of a different player, so it might be a bit of a different result. He is already getting a lot of drone damage. And by a lot, I mean not that much. 5 drones have gone down.
Are we going to get 6?
We do get 6.
There we go.
And not too bad, you know. The real question is, what is the Banshee gonna get behind this? As we do see Nuks. I wouldn't say he's had enough, but he's definitely building something pretty scary.
Yeah. I mean, he does have defensive spores in each of his bases, and he is droning up, but there is a nice Spire on the way. And of course there is. He's a Southeast Asian Zerg. You go get Spire. I mean, let's be real here. But I did also kind of want to talk about Nuks a little bit. Like, I'm sure a lot of people, especially the people who aren't too familiar with the Southeast Asian scene, they may not know him. But he is kind of an up-and-coming player. He is pretty, like... It is pretty definite that he is like the second best player in the Philippines, second only to Ender himself. Of course, Ender, he is like the Southeast Asian, the SEA Games champion for 2019. If people were unaware, he did win that gold medal.
He did, back in his hometown. Well, I'm not sure if it's his hometown, but it was his home turf, so to speak.
Yeah.
It was held in the Philippines.
That it was. He was able to take down Mio-Micah and Blisk. And I think Ranger as well. I don't know if Ranger faced him. I don't know if he faced someone else.
Like, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was actually, now that I think about it. It's been a while. Oh, boy. As, you know, these Banshees, they are still trying to get a bit of damage done. They do spot the Spire and the Mulus as well, so HuT does now have that information. Oh my god, this is a lot. This is insane. How many workers are going to get down? Yeah.
Unfortunately, Nuks not quite splitting his anti-air particularly effectively, now getting the Mutalisk out. But yeah, now he's going to be kind of pigeonholed into using it for harass to sort of try to equalize the damage done. But it's already expired. Nuks is already going to have to turn around. And I hate to say it, like, but I hope we don't get another stats versus creator here.
It's so unfortunate because he was banking on the fact that, okay, there are Banshees here. I'm just going to immediately send my Mutalisk across the map to try and deal equal amounts of damage. But those Banshees, they just dealt so much. Like, he made the decision to send his Mutas away instead of having them at home for defense. And yeah, like, in comparison, he hasn't dealt nearly enough damage as those Banshees. No,
he definitely has not. And this is worrisome. You can look at the worker count and say, well, you know, Nuks is technically ahead. The macro cycles work out quite a bit differently in a TvZ.
Ooh, that Widowmine shot.
Absolutely huge. And now HuT is pretty content to just chase down these Mutalisks to the other side of the map, trying to get some damage done. Nuks, only now the Baneling Nest has completed. He does not... Okay, he's morphing in 11 Banelings behind this, so he will have some defenses up. But HuT is not really committed. He's just trying to really get into Nuks' head as well as these...
Has to be so careful. Yeah. And Nuks, you know, he does confirm that he is not Mio-Micah. Like, he is getting a relatively standardly timed Baneling Nest. You know, it isn't at the 15-minute mark. It is in the late game. He's his own player, so I do like this, that he isn't shying away from that and just going pure Ling Muta. Mio-Micah.
But yeah, this transition is going to be a lot quicker than we saw in the Mio-Micah game. Going to be able to immediately turn around there and picks off a couple of Mutalisks there. Which isn't too big of a deal. I think there is a certain point in the ZVT where you kind of do want to be losing these Mutalisks.
Yeah. At a certain point, they do kind of, you know, their value does kind of decrease.
Oh
no!
Hello?
Okay, all right.
Right,
you DC'd for a moment there.
Rip.
Yeah.
Oh,
I thought yeah. Unfortunately, we aren't refs, so we can't speak to them. But I thought it was me. That's why I just stopped talking. I was like, did I lag out? Yeah. Careful there. Cross your Ethernet cables for Yaku's internet.
That's what happens when I place my foot on the Ethernet cable.
Oh, are you serious? Yaku?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I need to take that up. The Ethernet cable, not my foot, but yeah. We see a little bit of a posture around here. The dynamic of TvZ is very much so going back and forth. This word of mine is borrowed. Like, this word of mine is borrowed.
Nice on there.
For free.
Yeah, Nuks does snipe that Widowmine, and yeah, we do see him macroing up. He is working on his 5th base, finally getting his infestation pit. Maybe a little bit late there. His hive will be a little bit late. He's just relying on this Lingbane Muta for now. Oh, that was
It's all relative. You know, HuT was playing a little bit passive so far, just trying to build up his army, but yeah. It's definitely passed. So it might be late, is what I'm saying, like.
It may be, it may not be. We will see as HuT is here outside the 5th base of Nuks, applying pressure, and Nuks is moving down the ramp.
Yeah, we see beautiful flank coming out from Nuks. Look at all these banelings. They even managed to coalesce on the streak, but there is a drop into natural.
Oh, he's gonna get the infestation pit.
Gets the infestation pit, and these Marines, they're getting the baneling nest. So many tech snipes here for HuT. Nuks is not going to be able to go for that counterattack that he wanted to go for anytime soon. HuT, he's lost quite a bit of army supply here, but he's rebuilding it very, very quickly, and will be able to get back and go for his second point fairly soon.
I was gonna say that Nux's engagement outside his 5th was great. Like, he was able to surround the army. He had some nice connections there, but at the cost of not being there in position at his natural. He lost his infestation pit, delaying his hive even more, losing his baneliness as well. This is HuT's opportunity to push forward.
It very, very much so is, and you know, like, can we take as the invitation innovation? I would like to take a moment to appreciate that HuT was building 11 Marines at a time. His macro has just been his production cycles have just been completely on point. And we see he's been able to recoup his losses, and already, what was that, a minute after that first push, he already has a second ready, and already has the advantage here.
Yeah, we have Nuks trying to counterattack with Lings, but immediately gets caught by the reinforcements of HuT, and HuT... Yeah, he is kind of forced back a little bit as he is trying to defend against the Mutalisk. So this is the one thing going for Nuks, is he's buying a lot of time right now, and he needs it. He needs to set up defensively. He has his Baneling that's finished up once again. He's working on his hive, but how much time can he buy with this?
Not that much if HuT is on top of the repairs, which he is.
Yeah.
So my answer to you, Light, not a lot.
Not a lot. We do have HuT hunting down those Mutalisks, trying to find an angle, and he almost catches him. The Widowmine's borrowing as well, but Nuks, so far so good. He does manage to dodge the main army, and behind this, he was working on his Lingbane. His ground army is now comparable to HuT's, and I do think we are gonna progress further, and we'll see. If now I'm a little bit worried. HuT, I feel like he needs to expand a little bit more. He's still on 4 bases. Yeah,
or at least transition into a different tech choice, as we are approaching high for Nuks. And HuT does not even have Drilling Claws. I think he might just be a little bit tunnel visioned here. I'm not too sure what's going on, but he definitely, it seems like he just wants to end this game on what he's got right now. And it's not like he doesn't have the resources to do so. He's banking up quite a bit here.
To be fair, this push is lining up really nicely with 3-3. 3-3 is just about to finish, and this timing could be what HuT was waiting for to push in and maybe even end the game. We'll see how Nuks is able to establish himself defensively, scans the main base. HuT sees the hive, I should say. Doesn't see any tech, though. Doesn't know exactly whether or not there is an Ultra's Cavern on the way.
Or if it's a Greater Spire, which a lot of time you would normally think that the Zerg player is going to go for that Greater Spire if they opened up with a Spire. We do see main engagement. Nuks playing with fire here, just dancing back and forth between these mines. Not really losing too much here. HuT trying to get a pre-split, but there is only so much you can get done here in such a narrow choke point like this. The Marauders in the front soaking up a lot of damage from those Banelings. But now HuT is just turning around, realizes that he can't quite break this.
Yeah, with the reinforcements, Nuks is able to hold on just long enough, and now the Ultra's Cavern is done. Nux's upgrades are on the way as well. 3-3 Adrenal Glands, and now he's...
not where you want the Marauders to be right now, HuT. Trying to get a HuT pickup up, but not all of these units can be evacuated. That might just be the miracle that Nuks needed right here.
And there we have it. He does manage to save all his bases. He loses minimal drones, and behind this, Nuks Ultralists are finally on the way. He does have that Hive Tech, and HuT, he's still...
almost all of his Marauders.
Yeah, and he's only just starting his Ghost Academy. Ghosts are still a ways away, so he needs to buy enough time. He needs to keep Nuks on his side of the map long enough for him to establish himself with those Ghosts.
But... oh boy. Drilling Claws is almost
true.
Done.
It is almost done. That is accurate. And he's expanding behind us as well.
I'm just so happy that we see Drilling Claws for once this game, like.
So we do have him expanding pretty well behind this. HuT is, and we'll see if he's able to keep his bases relatively well defended against these Mutalisks. I can't imagine he's...
no, there's just way too much defense here. Nuks, but running into the Widow Mines. A lot of them do manage to land. And that's quite a lot of lings here. Nuks might have just lost his buffer, but HuT, he is a fairly wise man. He knows that he knows better than to try to fight what Nuks has got.
Something that I'm really worried about for Nuks is his creep spread. His creep spread really isn't quite there. It's only just connecting his main bases. It hasn't even reached the halfway point, and we're already 16 minutes in the game. And nicely done there, HuT. He is going for these drops. He is managing to find more economic damage. He may even kill the hatchery.
Hashtag just play like Tasia. HuT, you know, I have a feeling HuT might have been watching a couple of retro games.
The value.
That is absolutely huge. No anti-air here for Nuks other than Queens and Mutalisks. And as we saw, Mutalisks were not in no position there to defend. And once again, HuT splitting up his forces. Going to be denying. How many times has HuT denied this base? How many times in a single game has this been denied? I'm really worried that Nuks might just be starved out.
Yeah, the problem is, like, the creep spread just isn't there to defend that base. Like, it is nowhere near the bottom right-hand corner. So because of that, it's so difficult for Nuks to engage.
So many Marauders. There is no need to evacuate these forces here just yet for HuT. Should be able to snipe this hatchery.
Yeah.
And once that is done, what is left here?
To be fair, this army is pretty overstimmed. There's only one medevac with this ground armies, but regardless, it doesn't even matter. Like, all the Ultralists go down, the Lings are going to be able to clean up, but they just did so much damage.
You're able to trait that well. When you're able to snipe the really expensive Ultralists like that, that has gone in your favor, without a doubt.
Definitely. I mean, added to that, he also got the base as well. We have a couple of drones following the Ultralisks.
I'm a baneling.
But I do feel like this is what it's going to come down to, whether Nuks can establish another base, as right now there's another force headed towards that bottom right-hand corner, and he's not in position.
Mutalisks are finally going to be just about wiped out here. Only one going to be remaining here. A little bit of a run-by with Marines. Not really something that you often see. That was a kill. And with that, GG is called. HuT going to be taking game number 1.
GG. And yeah, like, to be fair, Nuks was putting up a hell of a fight, and honestly there were moments where he was even like favored, but HuT just ended up starving him out in the end. He just couldn't establish another base.
No, he really could not. I mean, I'm running out of things to say other than that was beautiful multi-prong.
Yeah.
A very exemplary if you ever want to learn how to do sort of these, I wouldn't say it was late game necessarily, because HuT didn't really go into his Ghost Tech. Nuks went into his Ultras, but didn't really get to utilize them that much. But definitely one of those later game TvZs, how to crack Desert Player.
Yeah, and I do want to commend Nuks as well. I think Nuks played that really well. I think in some respects, he looked even almost better than Miyamika. To be fair, like
You mean the Bailey
Nuks. Well, not just that, like Nux getting all the way into that late game with his hive with Ultralisk as well. Like Nux was honestly looking really good against HuT. There were just like these little things where he was lacking. I think the biggest thing was probably creep spread. It hurts not just with engagements but also defending your bases and expanding as well. Like without creep, it's difficult to comfortably take those more fringe bases. And it was easier for HuT to suffocate Nux because of that. Yeah, just little things like that.
It definitely was. And speaking of little things, like I got a question.
What's your question?
Have you ever had a dream?
I was like, are you free? I was like, what? God damn it. Eggs.
And there you have it. We are now gonna be spawning in Everdream LE. Gonna be here in the top right hand corner of the map, all the way in the top right hand corner of the map. It is gonna be our Red Terran, all the way from the land down under, but not down in this series, as he is currently ahead 1-0. Can he take it all the way? We will find out, as representing Bear Me, but currently teamless, so, you know, team owners, you know who to call. We have HuT.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Everdream LE, we have the Filipino Zerg player currently representing himself as well as his nation, as he is also currently teamless. We have Nuks.
You know, something that I kind of hope becomes a bit of a trend here? The international teams picking up the Southeast Asian players. Like, we've had it happen with Gogo Joey, you know, picked up by Team GP, and then most recently, Miyamika picked up by Cosmos Esports.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
something I definitely appreciate from these. Well, not all of them are based in NA, but you know, the more international team owners and team management.
Definitely, I do quite enjoy it. It's something that we're kind of lacking at the moment, and it's something that we had with HuT Gaming. HuT Gaming, like they were an NA-based team or an international team, I should say.
Well, they were NA-based, but they also had their team house in South America.
That's not accurate at all.
No, wait, they were. No, wait.
It's in California.
Wait, which team am I thinking of then?
I have no idea what you're on
I
about.
think I might just be thinking of Kellizer.
God damn it. Kellizer did stay in the root house as well. But yeah, that's kind of something that we're missing nowadays. As previously in times gone by, you know, a lot of the Australian players were on HuT Gaming. They were living in America as well. And there were a couple on My Insanity. Typically Petraeus, he was in My Insanity. I think he was also in Europe as well, living there. But yeah, that's something that we're lacking nowadays. And now we're very much so like insular, you know, like the players are on like Mind Freak or Legacy Esports, right? Teams or Far East Society Gaming, you know, like
for a while anyway.
Yeah.
So you know,
cool.
KJ, if you're looking for another player from the region.
Ender.
Yeah.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we do have Nux. Pretty interestingly, you know. Oh, he gets us around. Nice.
Nicely done. There will be no scouting coming out from HuT for a while at any rate. HuT, he's going again for his Raven Harass, which I do like a lot.
Yeah, you've come around. You didn't like it against me and Micah. You're like, do I like it? I don't know.
Yeah, you know, it took a while for me to get over it. Oh, the wall was not a wall, but the second wall was in fact a wall. Nux does get a good view on what what add-ons
the opener.
HuT has. Yeah, what add-ons HuT has on his buildings. He will know, he might just be expecting another Banshee Hellion opening, which, as we mentioned earlier, like, it's not really ideal in a ZVT compared to, or rather, spores are not quite ideal in a ZVT when you're up against Ravens compared to Banshees.
Yeah, I think what I like about these Ravens is it feels very old school. It's something that used to be a lot more popular and nowadays really isn't. Like, honestly, HuT, he's the only player I've seen do this in a ZVT in recent memory. So it's, again, that's what makes it feel kind of cool. He's like doing it and it's working out for him, you know? It feels very much so out of meta. But it's cool regardless.
Or HuT.
Meanwhile, yeah, or HuT. So far, he did actually spot that Spire with his Raven. He spotted it building. We'll see if he actually noticed it. Like, he could think that maybe it was a Spore if he didn't click on it. So there's definitely a possibility.
Well, we'll see what the reactions are going to be. We do see 2 engineering bays being built here. I haven't quite seen if he had... Yeah, okay, he does have the 3rd base, so it could just be the standard sort of, I get my 3rd base, I get 2 more gases, I get 2 more engineering bays, but regardless, they're going to be useful here.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll see if Nuks is able to get any damage done with these upcoming Mutalisks, as he, similarly to Miyamaka, like, his Valeness was a little bit delayed, just has pure Ling Queen here, and he's going to lose the Queen in his natural. And these Hellions, they're just diving in.
Indeed they are. There's just nothing here to really surround the Hellions. The Queen's trying to come in for a flank. A very nice swing of forces here by Nuks. But in the end, 19 drones will go down. And these Hellions are actually going to make it out. No, they do get surrounded by the Lings.
Yeah.
It looked really dangerous there for a second.
But so much damage was done, and it's not stopping. It still gets more workers.
And Restoration is just being so threatening right now. Just trying to see if there's an opening where it can throw down another auto turret. Missile turrets are now being thrown up here by HuT. Yeah, it's being so annoying.
But as opposed to the game versus Miyamaka, this time, instead of Hydralisk, there are Mutalisks, so these Ravens will get picked off.
Right to the range of the Spore. At least one of them will make it out.
They should all get picked off, and there we have it. The Mutalisks did end up finding them all, and that is the one advantage that Nuks has that Miyamaka didn't, is that like flexible anti-air, those Spire units. We'll see if he's able to get much else done though, as there are missile turrets in position defensively.
Will Nuks go for Infestors though? That is going to be
no.
a question. No? Really?
No.
Really? You think no?
He has the Bailey Nest. He's not Miyamaka, okay?
Apparently not.
Apparently not. We'll see if that's a good thing or a bad thing, as we do have both players kind of, macroing up. Unfortunately, these Mutalisks haven't really done too much other than killing those Ravens, which you could argue that is worth it, right? Like, those Ravens could have dealt so much more damage if they were left alive.
Well, I'm not sure if worth it is the right term there. I think it's more of getting those Ravens is a bit of extra value that you get with these Mutalisks, which, Nuts, he was planning to go for this Mutaharass anyway. So, the Raven's more of a bit of a consolation prize. He can't quite get these this SCV damage that he wants to get. Okay, I'll get one.
Yeah, he's been able to come in and kill 1 or 2 every now and then, which is quite nice. So far, I don't believe he has lost any of his Mutalisks. So again, so far his control has been good. He hasn't invested too much into these Mutalisks either, unlike Miyamaka. Miyamaka very heavily invested in Mutalisks and had a huge Muta cloud. Instead, Nuks only has them for harassment, and he does spot this move out.
I feel like that might hurt Nuks in the long run, though. He did spot the move out, and this is absolutely huge. A 1-1 already here for HuT.
Speed only just started.
It really is. This is not looking good at all for our Filipino Zerg player.
Oh god, yeah, and the Mutalisks, they are counterattacking. I was hoping that maybe they would try and dive in behind the tanks, but instead they were a little bit out of position.
Yeah, trying to go for more economic damage, but the reinforcements for HuT, I do appreciate that HuT isn't parade pushing just yet. He is keeping a good number of his Marines here back at home, going to be trying to maybe go for a drop at another angle pretty soon. But for now, HuT is just rotating. He is just going to do kind of what he did in game number 1, but much earlier, where he's just trying to pick off bases and starve out his third opponent.
Yeah, and you know, to be fair, Nuks, he's doing relatively well. Like, he gave up his third base, he didn't try and fight it. He was able to preserve his army, and now Baneling Speed will be finishing up shortly. He is also making more and more Mulus as well. So, and he expanded behind this as well. So, a really nice reaction to a kind of a rough position that he was in.
But speaking of reactions, it seems like HuT is starting to get comfy with using those mines, as Drilling Claws has just about finished. A lot of turrets gonna be. That's actually a lot of turrets. Holy,
that's a lot. Yeah.
I feel like they really put the fear of Mutus in him. I gotta say.
I mean, I like it, to be honest. It's kind of your reaction when, you don't maybe you're not too confident in your own reaction time to repair. So it's like, you know what? I'll just have 5 turrets here. It's fine. It'll be fine.
Yeah, good old pentagram instead of a triangle. That's 2 more sides.
Oh, these Mutas has to be so careful not to get sandwiched in. But again, they're kind of keeping the army busy. He does spot the move out as well, and this time he does have a pretty decent army on the ground. But the drop, oh boy.
Yeah, how's it actually going to be? Nux is pulling back his army to deal with this drop. The Mulus are going to be coming in. Will be able to clear this out. HuT has not moved in with his main force just yet. So this is actually giving Nux a little bit of time to once again, but he is going pretty far off creep. Oh no, Nux, you do not want to fight here. Not here. Not like this.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have to if he wants to save his base, and he just has to be so careful with those Widowmine shots. So far, so good. Nice engagements here.
But there is no pickup, but there is a retreat coming out here from HuT. He's just trying to bait this army of Nux to move into these Widowmines. Is he going to get it? Decent splits coming out from Nux. Not all of the Banelings were able to be taken out. And again, it doesn't matter how much splits you've got. That's way too many Banelings.
Yeah, that was a nice surround there by Nux. He was really nicely using his Mulus as well. He was actually able to pick off a couple of tanks before that engagement happened, so there was only 1 left with the main army of HuT. So he had really nice Mulus control and was able to get like almost a perfect engagement. He did take a bad Widowmine hit there, but he just had enough army on the ground, and he's able to survive HuT's push.
And now goes for a counter harass himself, but not going to be once again, he's going to be getting denied by the reinforcements of HuT. And I guess we're going to slow down once again. Neither player are really in any position to go for any pushes.
Yeah, we'll see. It looks like HuT is trying to rotate around to the upper corner of the map. And to be fair, there's almost no creep spread there.
Yeah, what's the reaction of HuT going to be? He has, I guess, not quite seen this army yet. But yeah, I guess just gonna try to bait the army of Nux into those Widowmines. And
yeah, I'm a little bit worried because Nux, he's gonna come down and deal with this, but the main army of HuT is to the north.
But so is the main army of Nux, just trying to fight HuT on equal footing. Will be able to clear this out. But once again, what does HuT do best in TvZ? Actually, most of these are still alive.
Yeah, that was
2-2 rather is a hell of a drug.
Yeah.
And I guess we didn't really get to mention it because it happened right at the end of that game. But yeah, there was another force going down south to reinforce that position. And yeah, that was definitely a very well played game by HuT. Nux, I think the writing was definitely on the wall there in so to speak. Nux, you know, he knows himself better than anyone else. He, I guess, knew that he was in a position that he couldn't afford to save his base.
Yeah, I would say that was actually.
But yeah,
I would say that was really well played by Nux. Again, though, the problem was that the big thing was that kind of lack of creep spread. So when it comes to defending your bases and moving from the north to the south, it just makes it so much more difficult. I will also say that last engagement that we saw was incredibly inefficient by Nux. So many of his Banelings crashed into Marauders, and then the bio army would just overwhelmed the Lings. It was just a really unfortunate engagement there. And I don't think it's very indicative of the series, especially because earlier we did see Nuks take like a beautiful engagement outside his third base. So he definitely has it. Yeah, he
Earlier in
definitely
that
has it
game,
in
he
him.
took a lot of
Yeah.
really good engages, but again, it's like you said, it comes down to creep threat. It comes down to this multi-prong from HuT,
Yeah.
slowly able to starve out Nuks. Because you can have a really good engage, but how many of those can you sustain?
Definitely. GG.
GG. And there we have it. HuT is going to be our second semifinalist of the evening. We did see Pez take out Mighty Kiwi and will be in the upper semis. Let me open up Probe stream. Seems like he's done with his series.